With weapons, spells, and Ashes of War covered, it's hard to believe that Caelid has much more to offer. But with so many ruins and dungeons to explore, there's still a handful of things left that you should be sure to pick up before moving on. So, in no particular order, here's 5 items not to miss before leaving Caelid. To start things off, we have a very unique shield. This is the Visage Shield. At a hefty weight of 24 and requiring a whopping 44 strength to use, this ornate great shield is modeled after the face of a fire giant. As for its defenses, it has perfect physical guard, high lightning guard, as well as the highest fire guard value for a great shield, tied with the fingerprint stone shield. True to theme, this great shield comes with a fire-based skill, Tongues of Fire. Costing 5 FP periodically, this channeled cast will spew fire in a small cone from the mouth of the shield, doubling as a front guard as well. You can move freely and channel this as long as you have the resources, and the damage scales very well as you increase the shield's level. Do be warned though, using this skill will heavily compromise your guard boost, causing each block to take out massive chunks of stamina. While the stance damage this skill deals is pretty significant, and the natural guard is quite handy, if you're not conscious of the increased stamina consumption, you can be guard broken quite easily. To find this great shield for yourself, you can start from the Caelid Ruins Site of Grace. Following the road, go south through the ruins. At the largest ruin to the southeast, we can find a staircase that leads us to a boss fight. In a very small room, you'll meet 2 pumpkin heads, one with a flaming flail and the other with a fiery hammer. Once defeated, the northern door will be unsealed, and within a chest, you can loot the Visage Shield. For our next item, we'll head just south beyond the ruins to the Smoldering Wall Site of Grace. From here, head east, beyond the patrolling T-Rex dog, to discover an Iron Virgin near a cliffside. Leaving her be to tend to the corpses she's made, follow the leftmost branch down carefully to a small ledge across the chasm. Within the cliffside, we'll find the abandoned cave. After grabbing the Site of Grace, I highly recommend taking a moment to prepare. This dungeon is a rot-filled mess, littered with rats, servants of rot, and Miranda flowers. So make sure to stock up on boluses before heading through. From the Grace, drop down into the rot and head northeast to the patch of land with the hollow Iron Virgin. Go down the western path, making sure to stay to the right just after you pass the Stake of Marika. Eliminate the Servant of Rot and follow the tunnel he was guarding. This path will have a handful of rats and another servant to deal with as you delve deeper into the tunnels. After dropping down into the rot again, you'll see this room has Miranda flowers hidden all around, but we'll ignore them and go take out the Servants of Rot on the ledge to the north. Follow the tunnel all the way to the end to find an even less inviting room. Through the fog wall, you'll face off against a spear-wielding Clean Rot Knight in an arena with just over a quarter of the floor covered in rot. Of course, after you almost have the knight defeated, a second will spawn from the puddle, this one equipped with a sickle. Once both knights have been defeated, you'll receive the gold Scarab Talisman. This very useful talisman will boost the rune rewards you receive from defeating enemies by 20%. And the effect can be stacked with the gold pickled Foulfoot to increase your yield by a big old 56%, allowing for some extremely fast rune farming. Up next, we have another useful talisman for our faith users, the Faithful's Canvas Talisman. This will increase the potency of all incantations by 4%. I know that hardly seems worthwhile, but even the most minor damage increase could potentially make the difference between a boss finish or a trip back to Grace. While there is another talisman available that's an upgraded version of this with double the potency, that's found at the end of a very extensive questline involving Gowry and Millicent. To find the Faithful's Canvas Talisman, we'll head to Celia Crystal Tunnel. If you've yet to find this dungeon, you can start from the inner Aeonia Site of Grace and head northeast beyond some giant land squirts to find the entrance at the base of a cliff. From the Site of Grace, climb the ladder and head inside. Clear the first room and jump atop the shack in the center. From here, progress east and into the tunnels. Beware of the large glintstone miner around the turn, and climb the ladder up to the next level. In this room, eliminate the pests, and climb the small ladder across the gap to the west. From up here, we can kick down a ladder allowing us access from the base level of this room, and keep moving deeper into the mine. Take caution at the next open area, as there's a pest ready to strike from a hidden room to the south. Once he's dealt with, you can turn your attention to the two preying pests up on the platform. Once they're defeated, you'll be free to loot the nearby corpse for the Faithful's Canvas Talisman. Our next item is hidden within Redmane Castle. We'll be picking up the Red Hot Whetblade, which will allow Ashes of War to be applied with the Fire or Flame Art affinities. Both of these affinities add fire damage to the weapon, however Fire will apply a higher strength scaling, and Flame Art will apply a higher faith scaling to the armament. To grab this, we'll assume this is our first trip to Redmane Castle, and start from the impassable Great Bridge Site of Grace. We'll go ahead and cross the bridge. Just be sure to heavily favor one side until you see a fireball launch from the catapults in the distance, then alternate as needed to avoid the explosions. If the catapults aren't firing, the Radon Festival's most likely been triggered. In order to end the festival, you'll have to defeat General Radon, speak with Jaren in the chapel, and rest at a Site of Grace or fast travel. Once you're across the bridge, stay behind the barricades and go north, climbing the rocks to your right in order to avoid the ballista ahead. Jump the barricade and follow the road towards the gate, turning south around the outer castle wall. Jump to the ballista tower, then back off to the cliff to the southeast. Run past the bats and jump over the gap to the graveyard. Climb the ladder to the tower and eliminate the two enemies up top. From here, run east towards the enemy near the small fire, and at the crumble wall beside him, jump down to the area below. Next, we have to meander our way around the flamethrower guarded barricades and keep going northwest. Once the heat settles and the item we seek is right ahead, we'll be pursued by an Iron Virgin. Sprint ahead as quickly as you can to the open door, and inside, on the corpse, will be the Red Hot Whetblade. Our final item to pick up, although one of the most useful, has us taking quite a long journey to obtain. This item is the Great Jar's Arsenal. As the highest version of the Arsenal Charm Talismans, this will grant you a fat 19% boost to your maximum equipment load. Oddly enough, we'll begin in Limgrave, at the Mistwood outskirts Site of Grace. From here, head east-southeast to the Shifra River well. Take the elevator all the way down and enjoy the gorgeous view. At the bottom, grab the Site of Grace and start making your way through the ruins. You can use Torrent here after a certain distance from the elevator, so mount up when you can. Run through the ruins and up the steps beside the waterfall to find another elevator. Take this up to the next level and mount on Torrent again. Head upstream beyond the pillars to find another Site of Grace. From the Shifra River bank Site of Grace, we can go northeast through the water and take a portal to make this trip much shorter and safer. Sending us to the far north of this area, we'll mount on Torrent once more and follow the road northeast. Go beyond the ancestral followers and plagued rats, but be sure to hang nearby the cliff on your right. Continuing up the road will turn you into a pincushion, so it's best to go around these rocks and run by the rats. Going northwest up the small grassy ledge, you'll find the Below the Well Site of Grace. From here, go up the steps to the elevator, which will require 2 stone sword keys to activate. Once you've paid the toll, ride it all the way up to find yourself exiting within Caelid, at the deep Shifra Well Site of Grace. Rather than go towards the Rune Bear to the south, we're gonna go the other way. Navigate your way through the chasm of exploding nerds, clusters, and lookout stones to be greeted by a magic golem archer. Carefully eliminate him and keep going up the road to take out his brother, who's a bit smarter, sporting some fancy ankle guards. Once the big Bow brothers are taken down, you can approach the Great Jar. He's not much of a talker, instead rumbling and jiggling a bit before placing 3 duelist summon signs at your feet. Consecutively defeating the 3 Great Jar duelists in an invasion-style battle may seem self-explanatory. However, the difficulty of this trial can range wildly, from relatively easy to extremely hard, all based on your luck. That's because if you're playing while connected online, your opponents are chosen from a pool of any loadout that has previously defeated the Great Jar's challenge. Of course, you can try to avoid this by disconnecting from online services when you attempt this fight. However, your opponents won't necessarily be any easier. While the loadout is chosen from a tarnish that has cleared the challenge, only their equipment seems to be used, as each duelist appeared to have similar HP and resistances. Once all 3 have been bested, speak to the Great Jar again for a triumphant jiggle and the Great Jar's arsenal. And with the Great Jar's challenge bested, we've grabbed all 5 items you should be sure not to miss in Caelid. I hope this has helped you out, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. And don't forget to like this video and leave a comment if there's anything you'd like to see in the future. As always, I'm StoneBear13, and thank you for watching.